pretty amazing win. Like, how do you feel at the moment?
Oh, just so pleased for the players. They've put in a lot of work and been smacked around as a footy club the last couple of years. So, to win on the road against a really good side, and they came at us really hard in the second half, and we just continue to hold up. And then, at really important stages, they get some momentum, and we just managed to get forward and just kick a really important goal just to stem the flow. I'm not sure if they ever kicked 3 goals in a row for the game. That was pretty important because we got away to a 4-goal to zip start. With 40,000 spectators just cheering them on, it's like they got an extra man. So for us to hold on in those circumstances, it was just frantic stuff in that those last couple of minutes. How that ball didn't go over the goal line in that last play, and so we're just pleased we got the points. Disappointed in a sense that we couldn't have closed the game out a little bit earlier, perhaps, but just so pleased for our lads that we got the 4 points and a lot of reward for a lot of hard work over a long period of time, not just for our players, but the staff and all our supporters back home, and see that we're not there yet, but we're on the right track.
The last kick to the boundary line is obviously a talking point. Do you know what the ruling actually was? Have you heard anything about what they decided on the side?
Well, my understanding is that the siren went when the ball was still in play. I think that's just my naked observation of it. I'm not sure if that's the case or not. So if the ball is in play and the siren goes, then what happens post the siren? If it goes out of bounds or not, the game's dead. Is my understanding of it, but I'm not sure if that's actually accurate or not. So it'll be interesting to see. But we'd been in front all day. I feel like we played a brand of footy that really served it up to the Freo side, made it tough for them, and we would have been really, really stiff if we'd have lost that game of footy. So if the lap of the gods was with us just for that last bit, and I think our footy club deserved it just this once.
Did you hear the siren yourself?
Yeah. I heard the siren. We were jumping for joy, and then there was a little bit of dispute on whether they'd called full time or not, or whatever. And so it was a little bit of a cheer. I thought the cheer had come from the Freo supporters to say that it was going to be their free kick, but the cheer was for the 500 North supporters that we had in the stadium. It was a pretty loud cheer by those 500 or 1,000. It was pretty good.
Imagine you're still learning a lot about this group week by week. Alastair, what do you reckon you've learned about them today and in this 2-0 start to the season?
Yeah, well, there's just some guys that have played some footy at our club for 4, 5, 6 years now that have got genuine belief that they can go on and be really, really good players. The Simpkins and the Larkies and Zerhas, Dave Juniacki, those type of guys who've played 60, 80, 100 games of footy. And for this footy club, I said it after last week's game, for this footy club to go forward, my challenge and their challenge and our challenge is whether they can turn into genuine A-graders. And all those guys have made really solid contributions for us in this first 2 weeks of the year. And that just helps enormously for where we want to go. The Cunningtons and the Goldsteins and the Zeebles, they're making really important. Goldie was terrific tonight, but they're making really important contributions for us. But we can't expect that they're going to be the guys that we're going to build our club around in the next phase. It's got to be those guys that are around 24 to 26 years of age. It's their club now. They need to make a mark. And Goldie and Zeebs and Cunners, they'll give as much guidance and support as they can, but those younger ones are the ones that need to really drive it from here.
Dave, is Juniacki in that A-grade list now? His start of the season's been as good as anyone's.
Yeah, well, he's played some really good footy for us the first 2 rounds, and his second half of the year was really strong too. So really pleased for him. I said last week that he's just so strong in the contest. But I still genuinely believe he can get better as a player. and we're pleased with the contribution that he's making. But I think he can raise his game to another level still. And these young fellas like Powell and Will Phillips didn't play tonight, but he's a big part of our future. And young George Wardlaw, who we took as a high draft pick this year. He's another highly rated player that will hopefully come into our side at some point in the first half of the year and see what he's got. So, and then we've had those guys like Griff Logue was terrific tonight. I thought he was a little bit fumbly early in the game, but then post that he and Aidan Call were just terrific in our back end. You're under a bit of siege there for a fair period of time, and to have he and Dan Howe played his first game for our club this week, and Liam Shields, their leadership and support for the group has been first class. So just really stoked for those lads that they're able to get a win on the road.
Talked about you're not sure how the ball didn't get over point post or goals in that last dying seconds. I think Sheasel was part of that again. For him to back up and play as well as he did, another 30 touches tonight, is a special kid, isn't it? Yeah,
and to have presence in that situation to not allow that ball to be rushed through. We just there's a whole group of those guys. I mean, I know that She's is getting the plaudits at the moment, but we're really excited with what's come into the footy club from what we drafted. Coop Harvey and Georgie Wardlaw and big Hamish Free, who was a rookie pick from over in the west here. And I've probably missed one or two. Blakey Drury, all these kids have had great summers, and Harry's got his chance at the minute. But we're hoping some of those other lads will get their chance before too long, because they're playing some really good footy, and they've embraced the footy club. Just love being around the place. Just that energy and youth is just great for our club. They haven't scratched the surface really in terms of senior footy yet, but we're hoping they'll be really important players for us in the years to come.
So to be 2-0 after everything that's happened the last few years, how significant is that for the club?
Particularly to win a game on the road. We've had to really grind it out our win against West Coast last week, and to be significantly challenged and the adversity that we had to confront in the second half this week, particularly when they came so hard in the last 5 or 10 minutes of the game. It's just pleasing for the group, given that where they've been over the last couple of years, to be 2-0, get back-to-back wins, one of those on the road. Just gives them just belief that all the hard work that they're putting, they're starting to get some reward for it. Now we've got a long way to go. We're under no illusions. We could have quite easily been zip 2 as well. Both close games, we win both of them by less than a goal. So our percentage is hardly startling at this point in time. But having said that, we got 8 points on the board, which is the same amount that we had for the whole of last year. So we're really pleased with where we sit without getting ahead of ourselves one little bit, because she's a tough, hard season, and we know bounce of a ball, umpiring decision, whatever, could just mean that we lose those 2 games rather than win them. So we know where we're at.
And we saw you on the bench high-fiving players. It looks like you're having a lot of fun there. How enjoyable?
Well, I've got to try and get to know these guys as best as I can, and there's a lot of education that's required and a lot of support required for the program that we're trying to put in place, and we're a long way from being able to master it just yet. But right away, we're playing with great spirit. We're playing for one another, and that'll take you a long way, irrespective of what sort of game plan you're playing. But we know that our game plan just doesn't stack up consistently just yet. But we're hoping that with a little bit more belief with these victories, that we'll get there in the long run.
Are you letting him celebrate the wins, or are you letting him know it's only round 2 and a lot of it's been a long time, but like you said, celebrated a lot.
The boys are excited, and you don't want to put a harness on that. The emotion in the room post game, the emotion on the ground when that siren went. It's just whether it was just the players or whether the peripheral staff, as I said earlier. When you've been knocked about over the last couple of years, to get a victory like that, particularly on the road against a side that were trying really hard to rebound from the St Kilda loss last week. They threw everything at us, and somehow we still prevailed. So just excited for our players, excited for our staff, and really excited for the fans back home and the fans that came to the game and those that support our club in this state. They would have seen some things that they'd say, well, there's some hope and some progress with this footy club.
Just talk about Goldie. His last 10 days, he would have been disappointed being left out round one to now come in, and you already talked about how important he was tonight. Just comment on his last 10 days and his performance tonight.
Yeah, well, to take on both those big fellas, they're great ruck combination, and they're still working out how best that they can use the both of them and get full value out of them. But Darcy's a ripper, and Jacko's just such an athlete. So they'll get better in terms of how they combine. But for Goldie to take on both those guys pretty much on his own, he had a bit of support from Charlie and also Huey Greenwood, and they shouldered the load when Goldie was off. But he been terrific. He was even terrific last week. Despite the disappointment of not playing, he's more or less Big X's mentor and has been for the last 4 or 5 years. So there's part of him that knows that his legacy at this footy club will be the mentorship and learning that he can provide for Big X as his understudy, and that's been the case the last 4 or 5 years. And at some point, he knows he's going to pass the baton to him. And in our view, we didn't want to play 2 rucks last week, so part of the start of that baton change was last week. But he's still got a lot of good footy left in him in Goldie, and that doesn't mean that we've made a decision that we're only going to play 1 ruck every time that we play. We may play 2, but with Big X out for a while, we're hoping that Goldie will be able to shoulder the bulk of it for the next little while.
You talk about Goldie passing on the baton. Is that what you're seeing Liam Shields do? I mean, he was again impressive tonight. He's a veteran that's come into this side, and he's just right at home in your lineup.
Well, there's one thing to, trying to progress yourself up the ladder, to do it with youth, and we need to do that. We need that enthusiasm, we need that talent, we need that excitement, but you need some really, really good experienced guys that can guide that. And I just mentioned Goldie's been able to do that for Big X, and Liam Shields has been able to do that with so many of our players. Dan Howe as well, Griff Lowe, Darcy Tucker hasn't played a game for us yet, but he's just been a ripper. They're just real professionals, and just first and foremost, it's just really, really good, solid men. And we just love the guidance that they give our younger players. And at some point in time, they know, particularly Shields, he knows he's going to be passing the baton to some of those guys. And in essence, he knows when they're playing a better standard than him that our footy club is genuinely getting better. So in the meantime, he's going to play as many games as he can and help us out. And we went into this with our eyes open in terms of, if we progress really, really quickly and he does his job for us, he's probably doing himself out of a game. But that's the character he is. He's just a ripper, and we're just so pleased we've got him.
Got any thoughts on the surface? You obviously had a good look at it yesterday. And went down
Surface was
how
perfect.
did it come up?
Perfect. Listen, I don't think we can be too greedy in terms of having footy and concerts. It's just like, it's great that we've been able to attract such international superstars to these stadiums, and we all enjoyed the benefit of that. My daughters went to both the concerts in Melbourne and in Brisbane respectively, and they just loved them. My wife went, and most of our staff went to them, so we can't complain too much. That surface was pretty good, as you expect with any relayed surface. It was a little bit spongy and a little bit dead in terms of what this surface would normally be, but in terms of whether it shifted at all, anything like that, no, I don't think so. We've got no complaints about it, and actually applaud the staff at the ground for getting it up in pretty trying circumstances. From what I understand, the concert was booked well before the organisation of the season, the fixture, and then I think the season might have come forward a week or so. So that's probably meant that they've done a pretty good job, to be fair. Certainly we got no complaints with it. But
We'll leave it there, guys.
Can I just quickly ask about Cam Zerha, just his move, into the midfield? Was that natural progression for him, or is that something that you've worked on him with? Are you good tonight?
Yeah, well, he was pretty valuable for us tonight. I don't think he kicked a goal, but had a couple of shots and was damaging our front half, but also did some really good work. He's just such a strong player that we don't want to just leave him to the front half to do his work. If he's capable of getting there and pinching it in the middle of the ground, we like to have a spread of midfielders that can go through that part of the ground. And I thought that part of the game was really. That helped us win the game, really. I thought Cunnington was really strong tonight. David Uniacke and also Zerha. They're just really strong contested ball beasts. And, you need to be doing that part of the game really, really well to give you a chance. And I thought they were pretty strong tonight, Zerha included. Yeah, good on you guys.